Hello and welcome to another episode of Coffee With. I am your host, Zainab Jang, and with me in the studio, I have a very special guest. So I'll do nothing but go into the interview and let my guest introduce himself. Welcome to the program.
Thank you, Zainab.
Do tell Coffee With your name.
My name is Momodou Hydara, um, manager at JAOL company.
Great. So thank you for coming, Mr. Hydara. Before we go anywhere, we'll take a short break, and when we return, we'll go in with the sponsors.
Ja Oil Company, the Gambia's largest and leading dealer in petroleum products. Ja Oil's petroleum products are of the highest quality and the best in the country. Our unbeatable prices guarantees you a give back on every liter purchase in any of our stations conveniently located near you and in all regions of the country. Besides our petroleum products, Ja Oil offers a one-stop shop for your shopping needs. From basic commodities like rice, sugar, flour, cooking oil to the finest and affordable jar gas bottle products and cleanest and hygienic jar water products packaged as per health guidelines. Jar Oil Company offers these commodities in its stations for your convenience. At Jar Oil, every client is a priority. We are truly yours and proud to serve you even better. And guess what? Special offer from JA available for bulk buyers. Yes, for bulk buyers and retailers of our petroleum products. JA Oil is your most reliable partner.
So do tell Coffee With who Momodou Hydara was before he became the managing director at Ja Oil Company Limited.
Thank you, Zainab. Momodou Hydara was a civil servant in the Gambia government, and basically I specialize on security. Actually, and I served as a manager, security manager at national security level with the First Republic through to the Second Republic, and then when things didn't work out well, as usual, I have to leave. And then I stayed a little bit in the US, and when the new 2016 coalition won, I have always wanted to come back. Like I said, there was just no way for me to come. But that was an opportunity for me to come back also and contribute my quota, because this has always been my passion to work for this country, work in this country. I've never wanted to be anywhere beside from the Gambia. So this is why when the opportunity came, I seized it straight and I came back, set up a business, and then knowing the company owner way before it becomes what it is, we bumped into each other and he asked, and I said, well, I'm doing this and that and that. And then he said, well, your input will be highly needed because there is a need for it. And then that is how I started with him. And then I helped in designing his security concept because there was none. And then the strategy, the plan, and then implement it. By then, actually, the company was grappling with a lot of robberies.
Wow.
It was huge. Large volume of resources we have been lost. So, but alhamdulillah, since we designed it, we are not only able to stabilize it and to cut it to zero level, but we are also able to foster key, follow up with some key investigation into the department itself, and then also follow perpetrators, and we are able to, with the help of the police, nab a syndicate that was operating from between stations.
Wow.
So that's how, that was a huge gain, and since then, we hadn't had an incident, not only Jawel, but only even the other stations.
Okay.
So management also, like I said, when people talk about security, they look at this person as, oh, he's just an old police officer. It's different with me. I've touched so many areas. I've studied management, and I've also practiced as a manager in the department I used to work. I started as a middle cadet manager since the year 1999, and since then, I have always been managing here and there.
Okay.
So it is an area I understand, coupled with my experience also.
Indeed.
So I found a perfect spot with the company because there were so many areas that need assistance. And this is how we are able to foster together and then to come up. And then all these expansions also came about.
Nice.
Yes.
Okay, so that's a pretty interesting background of who you were, and your security job, and then your experience, your expertise, being outside, and then coming back home and actually forming your own business, and then meeting up with an old friend, and then here you are today as the managing director. It would be nice to know as well your childhood. Every guest that I have, we always touch on your childhood and what it was like growing up. So do tell us about that. What was it like growing up as a young Momodou Hydara?
Well, as a child, I'm from Bansang,
Okay.
actually. I grew up there. I went to school there. And then from there, I went to Armitage. I started with Armitage High School. And then it coincided with a period when there were so many student strikes.
Okay.
So my parents feel that, it's going to be a huge distraction, so they moved me to Muslim. That's how I came back to Muslim and finished school. And as a child, actually growing in Bansang, I hail from a very good family, actually. And unfortunately, my father passed away at a very tender age when I was around 7, 6, I will say 6. And then I was raised up by my stepmom, actually, who really was very dear to me, and then gave me all the support and all the support I needed.
Nice.
And I could say that she over-pampered me to a level that, even my cousins and other people, they are not to even come close to me or to even shout at me or try to discipline me.
Yeah.
And I think that helps a lot as a child, because it helps me to get that free feeling, but at least not that much of a freedom to be doing bad things, but
Indeed.
at least to be myself and then be able to do what I want to do and follow what I want to follow. But there is always a discipline behind it whereby you don't have to sway and be disrespectful to elders and
True.
things like that. So that helped to shape me a lot. And then as a child, I've always had this passion to work for this country. Because coming from a family whereby you see a civil servant who served as one of the few who were educated by then in the area, who served as a health inspector until he retired,
Indeed.
and then delved into politics a little bit, who was Sheikh Sidat Job, the father of Dr. Momodou Sidat Job, was also an inspiration.
Indeed.
And has always coached me to always look at the bright side.
Nice. So it seems like you had a fruitful, impactful childhood. You were spoiled, but at the same time, you knew where your boundaries, and that's actually molded you to who you are today.
Exactly.
Nice. So, we'll talk about Jar Oil. Tell us about the company. We understand that the company is involved in. We've seen a lot of petrol stations, and then now we've seen a lot of mini markets, and then we have the building materials and also commodities. So tell us about the company Jar Oil Company Limited.
Thank you, Zainab. Jar Oil Company, I will give you a little recap, a little bit backward. Today is a household name, actually, in this country. But the company started way back. The owner, Mr. Hamidou Jar, I was fortunate to know him during those early days in the 90s, in the early 90s, when he was building up the business. And from that rural point, the rural area. But to start with, actually, he also didn't just come up and then start dipping into capital. He hails from a business family.
Okay.
Yeah. The family, the father, the late father actually was an entrepreneur. May Allah have mercy on him, and who was able to also nurture all his kids and put them into business.
Good.
And then they have stores all over. They started with plastic wares, kitchenwares, household materials, anything that you will need in your household. And they have stores actually, that runs all the way from Farafenye up to the Combos here.
Wow.
Yeah. And then that is where Hamidu hailed from.
Okay.
And then that is how he started his business.
Okay.
And I could remember in the 90s, people who lived in the URR in those days will tell you he's no stranger to anybody. Because he'll be running from one Lumo market to another Lumo market. All over, CRR, URR, everywhere. Sometimes he will even go all the way to the LRR.
Wow.
You know, so he's a very hard-working person, I will say. I always known him to be that very hard-working person who has no time to waste for anything,
Indeed.
but just be in the business every day of the week. Because, Lumos, if it is not Wednesday here, you'll have Tuesday somewhere, you'll have Saturday somewhere, Sundays. So it's just rotating like that.
Wow.
So his entire childhood is in the business.
Okay. Well, it'll be very interesting to have him one day on Coffee With.
Sure.
Yes.
We will try.
We will try that. So, we understand that you became manager in 1999, right?
Yes, in the civil service.
In the civil
as a
service.
mid-level manager, because by then, when the agency was expanding, I was the first security manager at the URR. We opened that branch. I was the first one there who opened
Nice.
that branch. And then since then, it is still
It's still
like
there.
that up till today.
Great.
But yeah, I started there, and then from that point of view, I'm always either heading a unit or managing a unit, and then this is how it evolved. So good part of my service is in the management.
Great.
Yeah.
Great. That's very inspiring. So we understand that each business or institution comes with challenges. And I know when you guys started in the beginning, in the 90s, it wasn't that easy. Just to inspire the young ones to understand that it's not you just get up and make it. Because a lot of people may have that perception about Mr. Hamidou Jah that, okay, he just made it. But then you've explained his background. The family has always been into entrepreneurship, his late dad, and all of his siblings. So there must have been a challenge that I'm sure you both encountered, or a situation that maybe we can learn from. Maybe one challenge that you encountered and, you grew from it.
Sure, Zainab. Like I said, every situation in every scenario, there are always challenges. Like, can you imagine people typically in this country, you will want to grow your business in the urban area and then spread out into the rural area. But can you imagine doing the reverse? You start all the way in the rural area, build it from there, muscle all your finances out of there. Very hardworking. Like I said, this guy have no time to party, no time to go and play. All he does is just going from one Lumo market to another and spending the whole day there, coming back at night, have a little bit of rest and sleep, and the following day you are back on it again. It's hard.
It is.
So people will not, if people are with the notion that, oh, he just grew with a silver spoon in his mouth, no. I can tell you because I have witnessed it. This guy struggled and fought for every button from that rural area. And then finally, when he decided, moving from the kitchenwares, decided to test the market of petroleum.
Okay.
That was also the huge challenge because he had so many difficulties, so many challenges in front of him. It takes determination for him to move. But if he was somebody who is not so strong, would have just given up.
Indeed.
Would have just given up because it was not easy. When he first tested it, he was just doing it in a crude way,
Okay.
selling it in the by the liters or by the gallons. And then later he decided that, okay, I should go and invest into a full-fledged petrol station. And even those old petrol stations, you look at it, it's a challenge. The building itself, the structure, everything was like just pushed to make it happen, but was not up to standard. But like I said, the determination is there.
Okay.
And finally, when people started seeing him emerging in the urban area, they thought, oh, somebody new. No, he has been into business for decades before.
Indeed.
Yes.
Okay.
So he was just doing his expansion here in the urban area,
Okay.
starting from the rural. So wherever you are in this country, do not just think that I have to be in the urban area to make it. An example of that is Mr. Hamidou Jah.
Nice. Okay, young ones, if you're listening, you've heard it from Mr. Hydara himself. You do not need to be in the combos to be able to make it. You can actually make it in the rural ends of Gambia first, just like Mr. Jah did. So, Jao is fond of developments. We've seen the petrol stations, like we mentioned before, across the country, which are embedded with the supermarkets. And, we know that you guys are selling cement as well. And I know there's been an issue with the cement variation and the different kinds of quality and the pricing. So tell us about that, and obviously what's the difference between the types of cement you provide and the ones out there?
That is true. It's a very important question because in this country, you'll come to realize so many people out there don't even know that cements are different. Not by the manufacturer, but by the quality.
Yep.
That each bag of cement, there is a standard quality leveled on it. So in this country, usually I walk around, I hear people gossiping and say, how come the imported cement from the neighbors are cheaper when they have to take it all the way from country to country, pay everything, and it's still cheaper? And I will laugh simply because the person saying that doesn't know that that particular place where that cement came from, they have different qualities. The quality we sell at a cheaper price here, better than anybody. That particular, where those cheap cement are coming from, they cannot afford to bring that particular kind of cement with the same quality like ours and sell it at the same price. It's not possible.
And why is
Because it's
that?
going to be very expensive
Okay.
because of the quality. What we sell is a 42.5 R. And when you look at on cement bags, sometimes you will see different numbers on it. The 42.5 R is the best quality.
Okay.
And this is what makes the difference. So this is why when you see somebody building a house and he doesn't have any clue, you go and just say, oh, I can get it here for cheaper, and you scoop from there. You build there's massive structure with it. And if you're lucky, you will just start to see cracks within a very short period of time. And if you're unlucky, that whole building could crumble. Yes.
Wow.
Because of the cement you are using is not meant for that kind of a concrete structure. It cannot hold it. So this is the problem. So people think that, cement is just cement. Yes, cement is cement, but they come in different qualities.
Okay.
Our cement, the Tiger cement, actually is one of the best qualities in this country. We've run several tests on it, and they have passed several tests the quality tests we've run on them. And even those who don't want to run tests, you mix our cement, you're trying to make a concrete, you pour it, give yourself 1.5 hours, and you will start to see the quality you are looking for in it.
Wow.
So that makes a huge difference.
Indeed, it does. Okay, well, thanks for that clarification, because I'm sure people are wondering, so how are we going to know about the different varieties of cement and, their benefits? But as you know, JAO is the main sponsors to the Coffee With program. In our subsequent adverts, you'll be able to see the information about the cement. So we move on. So I think we've covered it, which is the building materials. I know you guys provide building materials as well.
Yes.
So we can touch on that as well, and then talk about the quality of building materials that you have, and obviously the difference as well.
Yes, the building materials, like I said, is one of the oldest business Jawel has been doing before even the cement, like the rods. Alongside the kitchenwares and the household materials that was being sold, rods. We also import rods back in the days.
Yeah.
And one thing about our rods is this: they come in different sizes, and of course, as a builder, anybody, you and I, you want to erect a structure, you go for window shopping first to see the materials you need, where you can find them, and who is offering the best deal. One thing we are proud of, and I can say that on record, when you go and compare our prices with anybody else, if we don't beat you, you will not beat us. That is a guarantee. And this is why the volume of building materials that flows out of our warehouse is just huge. People buy them in bulk and retail them and get better profit. And people, builders also like buying it to save a little bit and cover for other things. And it's not only rods. We sell tiles too, ceramic tiles. And when we select tiles, we don't just bring tiles that you will put on your floor. After 1 year, you wash it with Zavel or whatever, and you start seeing the surface coming off, like you see everywhere now.
Yeah.
You know, one thing about us is it's true that it's a business that is set up to make money, but also we don't want to scam anybody
Indeed.
with your money. We want to, whatever we are selling you and whatever we tell you, that's what we are selling, that's what we have.
Okay.
Yes.
That's great. Honesty and transparency. Very good. So then, how do you view the local business and private businesses in the country, the industry itself?
Well, there are a lot of challenges, I will tell you this. You see, Gambian businesses is very sad, and I don't think even when you look at how our indigenous Gambian businesses are struggling, it's really sad.
Indeed.
Because sometimes there are a lot of challenges that could come on your way. And compare yourself with private investors coming from overseas.
Yeah.
And sometimes you ask yourself, do I have to suffer or do I have to go through all these hurdles just to be able to operate in my own country? Sometimes it's a challenge, to be very honest. And previously, I used to scoff off on some of the Gambian investors that I know are actually loaded, and they could be investing in several areas to create employment opportunities, and of course create extra revenue for the country. And I will say I don't know why they are not expanding in this area, doing that area. By then I was not into the entrepreneurship to know the internal challenges.
Okay.
But to be very honest, there are a lot of internal challenges. And at some point, I hold my head and I looked at my bosses and I told them, no wonder now I understand why people will just prefer to stash all those millions into their bank accounts or into bonds, and then just sit home, save themselves all the troubles, and enjoy the interest coming out of it for the rest of their life. Because to be very honest, sometimes you want to do something, you go through so many hurdles as a Gambian business. And if you want to say anything, they will say it's the law, it's the regulation, it's the law, it's the regulation. And which is good. Regulation is good in every country. I'm not saying anything to say that they are doing a bad thing. In fact, they are doing a fantastic job.
Yeah.
But I think they need to fine-tune it to make it more business friendly.
Yeah.
Is important.
Okay.
Yes.
So, to name maybe one of those challenges that is creating this problem for these, investors, what could it be if it's not the law or the regulations?
Well, the support a businessman will need is he has his money. All he wants is he's eyeing a sector to put his money in it and get it running. Now, if we're telling that businessman, yes, it's a good thing, you are welcome, you can do it, but you put like 1,000 or 100 hurdles in front of him, or you have to bring this, you have to bring that, you have to bring this, and by the time you get to the 100th one, the number one is calling and saying, oh, you have some deficiencies here and there, and then you rush there to solve it again, and all this time is running. Time is running to a point that you will sit down and ask yourself, why did I even get into this?
True.
I should have just looked for another area, and get into just retail business or whatever, normal commodities. And it's frustrating.
Indeed.
And I think since it's a new thing in this country, maybe regulators listening to me is try to fine-tune it a little bit, make it more business friendly, so that when we are out there to secure these documents, tell us what we need to do. Once we bring it, expedite it, give us the green light to go and jump into our core investment itself.
Yeah.
rather than sitting and waiting, sometimes for months, you know. And then the investor, for him, that is a huge losses.
Yeah, it's a waste of time.
It's a waste of time, and waste of time means waste of money,
Indeed.
because you are still doing some expenditures here and there,
It is
and
true.
you are not getting anything back for it.
It is true.
So that's it. So I think we Gambians should start supporting our local industries.
Okay.
That is what is lacking. That nationalism should start coming up.
Okay.
Support these local businesses. Let them grow, because they are here to stay. They are going nowhere.
True.
Good or better or worse, they're here. But the contrary is the other one. They see one or two things they don't understand or they don't like, they pull the plugs. They're gone.
True.
Even if they have 1,000 employees, they'll be out in the streets.
That is
So
true.
It's about time we start inspiring
Okay.
the local industries. Yeah.
Nice. I like that. It's like you've already touched on my last question, which we only have 2 minutes to go. But I hear that you wish to inspire the youths, and through your last speech, you said that we need to start inspiring and actually supporting our national businesses. So 1 or 2 words of wisdom that you have to share before we wrap up.
Yeah, before we wrap up, just give me 5 seconds, maybe, or 30 seconds. Let me
Okay.
also, we didn't touch on a key sector, the petroleum sector.
Okay.
Do you know that today Jar Oil Company is the leading the leading retailer in this country?
Okay.
And one thing is also saddening is you go around in town, you hear people talking about stuff they don't understand. Like I have sat in a VU whereby they said, "Oh, when you are buying petrol or fuel, don't go Jar Oil because they lace their fuel with something." That's very sad.
Very sad.
Not knowing that in this country, when you have one adulterated fuel in one petrol station, all the other petrol stations have the same adulterated fuel because we share.
Okay.
It's not like Jar Oil imports and hold it to itself,
Okay.
or the other company imports and hold it to themselves.
Okay.
We share from the same jar.
Okay.
So
Okay.
this is it.
Okay.
But like I'm saying, to inspire the others is we can start from up and become wherever you want, whatever you want to be in this country.
Okay.
And for the young ones listening, I think that's important.
That's important. So that was all we had for you in this episode of Coffee With. That was Momodou Hydara, Managing Director of Jar Oil. I was Sainabu Jang, and I was made this beautiful by Betty Berry. Thanks to my camera crew, MCR, IT, and my director, Uncle Basana Cisse. Thank you. And also thank you to our main sponsors, Jar Oil Company Limited. Thank you very much, and bye-bye.